Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are unpacking a concept that is literally going to bend your reality. We're looking at the architecture of synthetic identity. Just imagine for a second, taking the very essence of human experience, your internal biological synaptic pathways, and converting them into clean, perfectly transferable digital data. Sounds like sci-fi, right? Well, let's get into it. So I want to start by throwing this massive question right at you. What if human memories become completely downloadable? Pause and really think about that. Imagine a reality where your entire life story, every skill you've ever learned, and every profound moment you've experienced isn't just locked away as a solitary narrative inside your head anymore. What if it became an editable, shareable asset? It's a fundamental shift in what it means to be human. Breaking the biological paywall, memories as digital assets. Let's move to and see how this builds, because we're looking at the complete dissolution of the strict biological paywall that has traditionally locked away our skills and sentimental moments. Okay, let's dive into this definition to make sure we're totally grounded in the exact mechanics here. A downloadable digital memory is essentially a person's internal synaptic pathways converted into perfectly preserved, shareable, editable, and archival digital data. For all of human history, our minds have been trapped behind a biological paywall, destined to warp and eventually disappear. But by completely digitizing memory, you remove that biological decay entirely. It means memories no longer fade with age. The data remains pristine, ready to be accessed forever. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the stark contrast it shows. We can see exactly how moving from biological retention to an externalized digital model just completely re-architects our reality. Think about it. With biological memory, degradation is super high. We constantly warp and misremember things. But digitally, zero degradation, flawless data replication. And look at the identity boundary at the bottom there. We move from a state where our identity is rigidly isolated inside a single biological skull to one where it's entirely fluid. It can be merged, collected, or even backed up externally. The death of traditional learning, the era of skill injection. This fluidity brings an incredible utopian benefit that immediately makes our slow, linear system of traditional education a total casualty of the past. Honestly, if you need to learn a highly technical skill right now, you know the drill. It requires grueling years spent sitting in classrooms, poring over textbooks, doing repetitive physical tasks. It's a grind. But imagine bypassing all of that. No more pulling all-nighters, just instant skill injection. You literally just download the complete, polished memory file of a lifetime expert. Just think about what this means practically. You could wake up and instantly master advanced mechanical engineering. You could fluently speak a complex foreign language you had literally never heard before breakfast. Or you could understand the vast technical architecture of automated production lines, all because you bypassed those repetitive physical tasks and instantly acquired the elite abilities of someone who spent decades mastering that exact craft. It's a real game changer. So the crucial point is how this alters the value of the human brain itself. Humanity would immediately transition away from a culture that values memorization and biological retention. I mean, if anyone can just download any fact or skill, holding information biologically becomes completely pointless, right? Instead, the defining human skill transitions entirely to creative synthesis and application. Your value isn't about what your biological brain can store anymore. It's about how creatively you can combine different uploaded talent sets to solve complex problems. The experiential streaming era, the end of flat video boxes. And guys, this completely disrupts global media, moving us way past spatial computing into a breathtaking new era of entertainment. Experiential streaming allows you to literally feel the exact rush of adrenaline, the crisp mountain air, and the deep emotional awe of an event. Creators wouldn't just point a camera anymore. They'd record their raw, unfiltered sensory realities. As an audience, you wouldn't just watch an extreme stunt on a screen. No way. You would download the literal neurological memory of it and feel it pumping through your own veins as if it had happened directly to your own body. And this brilliantly illustrates how creators would turn extreme human experiences into highly tradable assets. Exceptional human lives, elite athletic achievements, and profound spiritual realizations suddenly become the absolute most valuable commodities on the global digital market. You aren't trading representations of reality anymore. You're trading the raw human experience itself. But this unprecedented access comes with a profound warning. As the source material puts it so heavily, this is the commercialization of the human soul. When our deepest, unfiltered realities turn into highly tradable assets, we really have to stop and look at the dark side of stripping away that biological paywall. The existential identity crisis, the fracture of the ego, it really forces us to ask the dark question: how do we verify our own personal boundaries when we can just download flawless copies of others? Imagine an ambitious person who uploads 50 different lifetimes of memories just to expand their professional capabilities. The psychological horror here is that their original personality risks being completely overwhelmed by the collective weight of those downloaded histories. The ego fractures under the pressure. It leaves us with a society of deeply confused individuals struggling to find an authentic core self amidst this endless sea of borrowed pasts. The threat of neurological hacking, the open data architecture. This opens up a genuinely terrifying door to neurological exploitation and severe new types of cybercrime. Because cybercriminals wouldn't waste their time trying to steal your credit card numbers anymore. Instead, they'd execute silent memory injection attacks. Imagine a hacker bypassing your digital defenses to directly format your brain's long-term storage layout. They could plant false traumas that you genuinely believe happened. They could inject fictitious criminal motives or seamlessly blend artificial brand loyalties directly into your subconscious. You literally wouldn't even know your thoughts weren't your own. The ripple effect of this would be absolute chaos, starting with the legal system. Courts can no longer trust a witness's subjective memory because the human mind could be deep-faked as easily as a standard text document. The entire subjective legal status of a human witness just totally collapses. Justice would have to rely entirely on objective, raw sensory data playback rather than any individual's highly editable, unreliable recollection. The inevitable conclusion drawn from these sources is incredibly grave. Strict cognitive firewalls become the single most vital element of national security and personal survival. Protecting your own mind, ensuring that your cognitive borders remain completely closed to unauthorized uploads, is now the ultimate necessity for human survival. Without those firewalls, you essentially lose ownership of your own reality. So, I want to leave you with this lingering, provocative thought to turn over in your own mind. In a world completely without a biological paywall, if you can download someone else's memories, their skills, their traumas, and their triumphs, where do they end and you begin? Thank you so much for joining me in this explainer today. Keep questioning the world around you, and I'll see you in the next one.